jacked up review show. It's a jacked up review show. Jacked up review show. It's a jacked up review show.
Join us as we cover many an insane movie and numerous cult TV phenomenons. Are you ready to get jacked up? Are you with us? Then listen on.
Listener discretion is advised. It's a jacked up review show. It's a jacked up review show. Jacked up review show. It's a jacked up review show. It's a jacked up review show. Jacked up review show.
Still thinking about doing things when I'm with you. Still trying to reach you, hoping you see the bigger picture. Living without you may be easier than dealing with you. Pussy is wet, but you don't care about my mental. Yeah, that dick fuck me good, but we be mad when you with me. Dick fuck me good, I be mad when you in it. Yeah, that pussy is wet, but you don't care about my mental. Like, how did I get here? When did this even start? I went from getting money to let you play with my heart. Giving you pussy was my mistake from the start. Now I don't wanna leave, wearing my heart on my sleeve. But I would get you before you would get me. We a team, but I feel like we compete. Like, do you even love me or do you love what I've achieved? Do you love what I achieve? Do you like what you see? The diamonds and rings is all material things. But I see that you're still worried about your finances. You ain't really worried about a real woman. I need to understand what you really own, because I could tell you what I really want, and I could let you know what I'm really on. I could put my guard down if you put me on. Mentally challenged, mentally strained when I'm with you. Still thinking about doing things when I'm with you. Still trying to reach you, hoping you see the bigger picture. Living without you may be easier than dealing with you.
Welcome, ladies and gents. Once again, MoneyBag Mia. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Delightful. We're going to just do a casual talk on the ups and downs of the ever-changing world of social media. Something that's embraced by everybody.
So when it comes to social media, especially Instagram, I feel like there's a lot of things that we see on there that could be productive and positive, and then there's also some negative stuff. Like, I feel like now social media, it was supposed to be used more for, like, promoting businesses and for artists and influencers and people to kind of find their way, in their career and talent. I felt like that was just a place for people to showcase things that they have going on. But then it kind of turned into a place of, like, bullying and harassment and ways to kind of put people down, but just indirectly. And
Takes one to ruin it for everyone.
yeah, I feel like sometimes social media could be used for positive, but then it also could just be used as a way for people to, like, make fake accounts and, harass people. A lot of people in the LGBTQ community also get bullied, and just people in general. Like, and now there's a bunch of, like, sex workers and stuff online. So it's like now on social media, you can see a little bit of everything. And we also have to keep in mind sometimes our teenage children or even kids go on Instagram and Snapchat. And we just kind of have to realize, that social media is very open and anybody could be on there. So you kind of have to, like, filter certain things, because you never know, like, who's online.
Oh, yeah. My sister, for instance, is using TikTok right now and posting random videos where she reacts to Marvel and DC related entertainment. And sometimes she'll just want me to just look at, can you believe someone made that comment? I'm like, yes, because there are toxic people out there. You don't know if it's a legit or if they're just a troll where their sole purpose is to go on every video and just say it sucks, it sucks, it sucks. So to let that eat you up, I mean, come on, and she's never been too great at having a thick skin, and like you got to, especially if you're gonna do
Yes,
this. You're
with
gonna.
social media, people will eat you up over. Like I've been in a few social media scandals. Sometimes people just, they just get a kick out of talking negative about you, even if you're on social media doing positive things. Sometimes people, they will take your pictures and they will, mock you and make fun of what you got going on. There's just like really ignorant people out there. I've been like a victim of social media bullying as well, and then I've also been on
Everyone's been bullied at some point or
I've
another.
also been on the side of social media where everybody like praises me and likes me. So it's like I've been through different phases of social media. So it's like I am kind of built for social media in a way, because I've dealt with the negative and I've dealt with the positive. So now with my Instagrams, I just strictly use it for like business and just like to have fun and, post
If it's
my
not a
daughter.
promotion, you're not going to be on there. You're not going to get in these endless arguments and everything. And
Yeah, no,
even
I'm
in
not gonna do
podcasts,
that.
I've had the misfortune of just seeing a few guys who are just a little too rowdy, and it's like, oh, how dare anyone like or hate this thing we're about to talk about? And it's like, chill, dude. Like, if podcasters don't like you, the polite way of just saying is just like not interacting with someone, or if you just don't like people, I mean, there's the block button. Jesus,
Yeah,
and
that's how I feel. I feel like when people don't like you, they still find a way to watch you and everything you do to kind of make hateful comments. And then, it just gets to a point where it's like, if you really hate this person and you don't like this person, why are you keeping up with everything that they do?
have you, in the world of rap, ever had anyone kind of who you knew locally kind of come out with a diss track and you're like, I don't even know this mofo, what's he talking shit about me for?
Actually, I feel like I have dealt with those type of things. I've also had like a friendship with someone who felt that I made diss tracks about her, or she felt the need to make diss
It's too close to home.
about me. So it's like sometimes I don't know where that really comes from. I don't really engage in diss tracks and all that petty stuff. I just make music that makes me happy, talk about what I've been through and, situations that I've been through. So it's like I kind of make my music about how people treat me and about, like I said, what I've been through. So if people think that that's a diss track, then so be it. But I don't feel like I purposely just go out and diss people. And
Well, I'm glad you were able to avoid that,
just,
though, for the most part, because it can be pretty ugly sometimes where you're just like, okay, well, now I want, co-credit since you're talking shit about me, at least,
I don't think anybody has ever like just been bold enough to like make a diss track specifically surrounded about me going. I don't think I've ever had those experiences at all.
Gotcha.
But support my music and make me feel like my music isn't good enough, or be biased, but they're not gonna promote it or comment on it, even when it's, because I've had different stages from just starting, and now my music is getting where, so a lot of people do like my music, and I do. But then there's also like that 10% that like, okay, she does music, or she does that, but they don't really say nothing. So, haters.
Always a hater. Well, glad you're able to avoid most of those, because there are times where it's like, if I feel like someone is referencing somebody or doing it just for easy attention and not for an actual like being creative, that's where it just feels very petty.
I feel like some people rap because, like I said,
They want to talk smack and get paid for it, I guess.
rap, like they may hear say some cool stuff, and then they're like, "Oh, let me say this in a song," but then make it a little in my own words. Like some people rap to get attention and fame and all this other stuff, but people have that. It just comes with a passion that you have for that.
Gotcha.
But a lot of people, it takes a while to build a connection with a rapper. One, because you have to get to know that rapper, not just listen to their music and base their music off of who they are. So it's like, a lot of people are small minded when it comes to artists. Like there's a lot that comes with being an artist, and
Right.
being a local artist as well.
Totally. Oh, so since TikTok is integrated with Instagram and a bunch of other formats, what's the timeline, do you think, on this? Do you think it's going to kind of be a thing for 10, 20 more years, or is it kind of going to die down, you think, a bit because of the negative press?
I think that TikTok is probably going to die down. It may be like 3 to 4 years, just because it's like TikTok has been around for a while, and it's just getting to the point where it's starting to be like annoying. Like you see, at first you seen young people on TikTok, now you're seeing old ass people on TikTok, people in their 30s or 40s be young and do
People
things
have no business being on there.
young people are doing. It's like and get TikTok taken every day by a young person, and I just don't like that. Like at some point, me personally, I get on TikTok, but it's not like to do a trend, like I kind of use, like I said, I use social media for my platform, and I just post my daughter and like a little bit of twerking videos here and there, but I don't use TikTok to kind of like do trends and all that stuff. That's irrelevant to me. It's actually quite childish. So yeah, I just feel like people that involve themselves with TikTok and make TikToks every day, it's either you're trying to be like an actor or an actress, or that's something that you do for comical views, or
Right.
you just literally just using it just because you don't have nothing else better to do.
Someone who's just killing time when they should really just be thinking about something else.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, cool. Do you think it's getting easier to sell items through Instagram and a bunch of those other things? Because it's like, for a while, it seemed like they took a while to update their store options for users.
I think it is easy selling product on Instagram. I think that's the easiest way to make money from your home right now. But you do have to have a proper marketing skill. And nowadays on social media, people's attention span are so low. It's almost like they have an IQ of a child. So you have to do things to allure customers. And then you also have to be consistent. Like you have to post every day, and you kind of have
Totally.
to brand a lot more than you should. I think it would be more easier if you were like just on foot selling it, going up to different establishments, like even a gas station. I used to sell out my car, go to gas stations. I would make more money on the streets than I media. You work, but you can sell on Instagram too. You just gotta put a little bit more work in. Like when you put some, you got the product, they see the product, on Instagram, people, I don't know, it's like they see it on social media and they either feel hesitant to shop with you because you don't have a website, or they're hesitant to shop with you because you never bought. So it's
Right.
just a convincing, as versus if you just pull up and just about your business, they see the product, they like it, it's just that simple.
It pretty
And
much
then
is. It's all there on a pedestal, just like anyone can put their movie on it or book on Amazon. Anyone can sell T-shirts on Etsy, or Redbubble.
anybody can do that.
And
So
you're doing makeup and a bunch of other beauty products.
yeah,
So
I like to be local because when I started this business, I really just wanted to just build it in Sacramento and Oakland and different places, and then I kind of started, finding different sponsors for my products. So, I started shipping to, my model in Florida, and, I had someone in Miami, and someone here, someone in Louisiana. So, so well.
by all means.
And started kind of growing
That's good. So now that we're kind of at this standpoint where everyone's got a lot of stuff that they can do a side business with or full business with to some extent, how would you encourage people to be creative? Since, it's not just something that you're going to learn in like business college.
To be creative, I would say the creative thing that you should do, come up with your own logo. Your logo says a lot about your brand. It says what you're promoting, and it also will attract your customers. Like what you put out there, how you present your product. Those are the type of things. So like stand out, make do what's cute. They do something that people are gonna like because other people are doing it. So when you see too many people doing something and you're like, man, I like the way they're doing it, do your own way, because even though a lot of people are doing the same thing and attracting, a lot of business, when you stand out and you be creative, you kind of make it a little bit difficult for people to kind of to deal with you and shop with you, because it's like, okay, I've never had this before and I'm used to this. So you have to get people to change their perspective on how they see different beauty brands, because there's a lot of people that sell lashes, there's a lot of people that sell lip gloss, there's a lot of people that sell clothes, but what are you going to do to make people want to buy your product and your clothes? Like what type of logo are you going to use? What type of clothes are you going to sell? What type of lip glosses are you going to sell? What type of makeup? Like, you just have to do things different, something that they never had before. And like I said, it's just a lot of convincing. But I feel like if you are business oriented and you promote your product and you put money and creativity behind it, it will go far.
So the ones who just hustling is in their nature thrive, while the other ones who just, BS, they're not going to thrive.
If you don't have the budget to go all recommend them here because that's free game. But if you guys really are interested on starting a business with a little bit of cash, you guys can follow me on Instagram and I will DM you guys and let you know how to start a small business with a small fund, because there are things that you can do to start a small business. It's like trial and error. You can start off with a few products, and once you build up your brand and build up your finances, you can start selling in bulk. But I wouldn't suggest that until you have, one, the money, and two, like I said, you have the plan of how you're going to sell all of it, and then also just knowing what you're going to do going forward with building your brand, getting your business cards, getting your logo. You have to get all that stuff at the same time. So I wouldn't get a bulk order if you cannot provide the rest of those things. So yeah, just start small. Starting small is what's good. Starting small, seeing if your product is going to sell, and then elevating. Don't start too much too soon.
Right. So you have any advice for dealing with like oversaturated markets? Because obviously there's many ways to go around it, like getting a different logo or eye-catching, slogan or any other mechanism. But it seems like after a while, especially on Instagram, it seemed like a lot of people were just copying other people's logos and style, to where it's like, okay, well, make sure this is copyrighted so you can tell them, hey, stop that.
Yeah, definitely. When you start your business, go on Google and write down a bunch of names. It took me a while to get promiscuous lips, believe it or not. That seems like something easy and simple, but I went through a lot of different names before I came up with that name. And it's not just promiscuous lip, it's promiscuous lip seductive minx, because promiscuous lips is technically kind of taken. So I had to add something else in there. But when you trademark and you buy your own logo, you own that logo. So even if someone does have it, you have to kind of find your way to differentiate it from whoever else has that name, because anybody can have the same name, but you guys have to promote it differently. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, there's a promiscuous lips out there, but they don't have the lips logo. They don't have, the same logo as me or anything like that. So it is very different. and they kind of don't sell the same stuff as me either. So it's like you just have to find a way to, like you said, copyright your stuff. And when you do start your business, please get an EIN and an LLC. That's another way to, for sure,
Yeah, register it.
register your stuff, so that way if someone else out there does have it, you can protect yourself from that because you already, solidified yourself. But like I said, that all takes time. The best way to start is to start small, start your business, get an idea, take it seriously, know that there's not always going to be money in the beginning, and sometimes there's not going to be money at all. So
that's so true, because I will see some people like freaking out on what is technically their business or just someone else's page that they share with like free other users. And it's possible to do. And it's just like, dude, you exploding on your real life crisis is going to make everyone take this less, personally, less realistically. And by you exploding, and it's like, I think the seed just goes back to, again, just other people I know and everything. It's pretty much, I feel like somewhere along the way, Americans didn't just get stupider, but just no one had the good sense or care in the world. And this goes to their parents, especially, to just tell them, hey, there's this little known thing called discretion. Cause like my father had the blessing for me of just, he wouldn't just tell us, what curse words to not use in public. He would tell us, he'd go the extra mile and say, if you say this, someone is going to think, you're an idiot. And this reads volumes. This could tell, a parent, hey, I'm not policing my kid. I really am a rude person, even though I'm just doing it to be funny, people can read so much into many things based on how you act, regardless of whether, the first impression is everything. And if you are just goofing around and, in this case, exploding on your personal Instagram, acting like the world is your oyster, everyone is already, I don't know about you, but that's a turn off to me. I'm like, whoa, what's happening? Why should I care?
Exactly.
Are you blowing up my notifications of you saying, oh my God, holy shit, what the fuck? What's going on? It's like, well, first off, I'm not offended by the language. I'm offended by the fact that you're just this person is just losing it in real time and, live. It's like, there's just no need. I think everyone has a freak out moment. It's stressful because, like you say, there's patience. You don't get your return right away. It's business. But I think that 1 or 2 minutes where you are stressing out, everyone can keep that to themselves,
Mm-hmm.
There's no need for a feud or just having everyone get inside your head for a minute and then getting offended when they react or find what you're saying, not so favorably.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I don't think that social media should be a place for ranting and angriness. That's why I try to keep everything that I feel personally off of social media, just because I do have a business. And I feel like, some people do use social media to, lash out and vent and, do things that are inappropriate. And it kind of creates a certain tone for your profile.
If they want to do social awareness, that's one thing,
Yeah.
But I review movies on our podcast. I always tell everyone up front when you get on the show, language is allowed, but don't, make sure you're doing a critique. You're not attacking someone's character. I don't need some famous celebrity, even if they're not likely to listen, better to be safe than sorry. I don't need some B, C, D-list celeb, sending me a cease and desist, order saying remove that episode because so-and-so, called me a fucking whore.
Yeah, that's true.
And said I should never act again. I am cancer to the world. It's like, no, be creative and don't be a dick about someone who you don't even know. Just say, yeah, no, I was disappointed by their acting or their singing style, or I think they're a cool person in real life, but I don't care for their products. Just something, just a disclaimer as opposed to making it so personable, like, oh, what were they thinking? Oh, they're terrible.
Right.
Don't be vague and don't be one-dimensional. And you can think this critique before you say it. If you ask yourself real carefully, do you think this is really nice to say? Like, I was reviewing a screener for a movie, and we kind of just, to put it nicely, we just didn't want to post a review because we didn't have absolutely nothing nice to say about the movie at all. We just hit that rare spot. And so we were like, thank you for the screener. We will not be covering it at this time. That's what we said. Because otherwise it would be like, this guy is a very unconvincing guy, and you were hoping to get a positive blurb to put on that, DVD, and there's nothing in even this negative critique that I could possibly put in this 1-star review, and I just as soon not post the review. It doesn't feel good at the end of the day. So that's what we did on that one site, which I helped blog for. And I was like, yeah, this screener, this copy of this movie you gave me, I wasn't digging it. And I've given plenty of 1 or 2 out of 5-star reviews, but this one in particular, I was like, yeah, I got nothing to conjure up at this time. So I think it'd be better if both of us, I just thank you for considering me to review it, but I can't give you a review. I'm sorry. Because I got nothing nice to say. And have you done that with some of your product supplies where you've asked people to, try it out and share a review?
Yes. I get really good reviews on my product, actually. I get long reviews as well. So, yeah, I love when they do review videos.
And
one
it's,
of business. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, sorry. Well, I would see some people, like, they would kind of force their product. They were doing brand ambassador duties, but they weren't doing it very well at this one conference I was at once upon a time. And it was just like, come on, man. You ask someone, you gain their interest, you go into actor mode, and then, you have them try out the product, and then, yes, you ask them to, either join your team or leave a review. And it seemed like this person was not getting it. They literally forced the product in said customer's face. And I was like, yeah, I don't think you're going to get any feedback that you're looking for if you do that. If you force it upon someone.
Enough to force it on people. Like, honestly, I mention it to people. If they buy it, they buy it. If they don't, they don't. I'm not a pushy person. Like, I am very content with my business. I have customers all around the world. I'm not tripping off of a sale. Like, I am really a businesswoman, and I know that every day is not going to be money, money, money. I have money. So my business is just also something that I really love doing. I'm passionate about it. I want to see it grow, but I'm not going to push a sell off on someone because it's not that serious to make $10 off a lip gloss or $15 off the lip gloss or $10 off lashes. You know what I mean? It's like, that's not that much money for me to be pushing so hard for. So, when I realized that I already have customers that will buy from me without me having to really push anything, I have actually faithful customers, people that's been shopping with me since 2020, like people that come back all the time for lashes and lip gloss. So I don't have to really go out and find new customers unless I just want to. But I do have customers, and, I do promote it to people that don't know about it because it also builds promotion for my brand, because it is a small business and a lot of people don't know about promiscuous lips. So, yeah, I'm always going to promote my business so that people are aware that I am local and that I do sell product if they ever need it.
That's wonderful. Especially because that's where you get the returning customers as opposed to the ones, like, I would have some pals, they would do brand ambassador stuff. But again, they were doing it all the wrong way. They were befriending the friend of a friend. And then that's where it got a little toxic. It's like, okay, come to a party to socialize and party. Don't come here to not only steal away all my friends, but have them be your future customers.
That's how people do it when they have a business. They go about it maliciously.
They just can't help themselves. And it's like, so now I know this friendship is forged on me buying your product. And now you're going to start pressuring me if I don't buy your product.
Yeah, that's not a good business tactic at
It
all.
really isn't. And
It's actually weird.
it's extremely awkward and weird. And then it gets to where, well, I don't know how else to say this. I have no need for this. If I do know someone who does it, I will let you know out of courtesy. I really, it's not jiving. I don't know what to do with this product, and I myself, I'm not a businessman. So if you ask me, if you try to, sometimes they would just try to get people, recruit them. Hey, I want you to sell my stuff. It's like, we split the proceeds. It's like, well, that's going to be so much work. Give it to someone who is interested in some kind of side business, some side hustle. Don't, this is like teaching someone how to walk. So just assuming and just giving away your product and having it be their problem. This is like, how can you expect any return? Let alone you can have a good business relationship instead of, and when you force a friendship or a partnership, it's just never going to last. It would be like a very ugly music band breakup. This is like, it was never meant to be, Whether you believe in fate or not, that's irrelevant. What you really ought to do is, plan it, say, I'm really just liking this person's attitude and persona. Like when we were agreeing to do this episode, we got a vibe from each other that we dug. And there's just so many other people who just kind of like to, it's not like they're just asking for peer pressure, but they just don't know how to just do a formal invite for collaboration. It's like, come on. Yeah. Have you had some cool business partners?
I don't really have any business partners per se. I work alone.
All right. Well, you are your own boss at the end of the day, so good on you.
Yep. I like to do my own thing. It's really hard for me to find business-oriented people of my stature that are really focused and committed to what it is that I am offering and what it is that I am doing. So yeah, I just work by myself.
Cool enough. I once knew a guy who was selling houses, and he is like, and then there was another gal in contrast. She was doing the online, do a tour, set up an appointment. Some of them, I think, were doing it through the apps like Zillow or Open Door that buy people's houses, and some of them were just more again, independent real estate, And it kind of goes back to like a TED Talk, There's some speakers that really resonate with you regardless of what they're talking about, and there's others who they're a turn off. And when you say that there are just some people who, again, they're in a business and they get by, but they're not particularly good at it. I mean, that's common, but like, do you think it's a little more common, especially with using social media?
What was that? I'm sorry.
Would you say that there's a lot of people who obviously there's a lot of people who are in a business that they're not particularly great at, but would you say they've kind of had their brain fried using social media? They just assume, you've done a simple sign up form. I don't really have to do much talking. I just have to look, pleasant, for the camera.
Yeah,
or
I think there's a lot of people that are doing business-oriented things that are not really professional and that are not
they have
educated.
zero persona to begin with, so therefore just coming off is very shallow.
Yeah, I think some people use business to for clout. Sometimes people start businesses for clout. They don't really care about the product or if they make money. They're just trying to do something that someone else is doing because it's like it gets competitive, and then sometimes people will invest into something that they have no passion in, and it'll just be a waste of time and money.
This is pretty much, they're fueling all this testosterone, all this other just energy that they don't know how to direct, and they could be doing it for just something else productive. Oh man, it's wild. I didn't think about that. I mean, we think about just ego, but yeah, it's like some of them do kind of seem to just want to approach it like fantasy football, where each week, I'm going to, or even just like their stock market, I'm just going to bid on stock or do something else that it's my go-to. It's the only thing I really enjoy. And it's like, well, I think you should enjoy more than just that. Whatever. Well, any other trends you want to talk about? I'm game for, and if not, we can probably wrap this up. Not too far from now.
I don't really know what other trends that there are right now besides TikTok and Instagram. I
They're
know
always
that
changing.
there's a lot of different trends. There's like a lot of different dances that people are doing, and it's just too much to keep up with, honestly. I don't know. I used to be into myself a lot. Like a few years ago, I used to be really into social media. I used to love, making funny videos and
It goes in stages.
comical. But I'm just like, I don't know. After I had my 2 daughters, I really stopped being a childish person, and I took myself way more seriously. And I just don't partake in certain things. Like, I just do little stuff here and there. But I don't know. I'm not really I'm not a social media female. Like, I'm not hella into it to where it's like I invest so much of my life and my time into it. Like, I just literally use it as a marketing tool in a way to share, my journey of my life. And people who are interested to see it, I don't really care too deeply about keeping up with trends. And besides, I just like to model. I like to rap, and those are things I'm going to share. I love being a mom, and I love dancing, for fun and to entertain myself, to uplift my spirits. So that's kind of just what I use it for.
Stellar.
Oh, yeah. Be sure to follow Promiscuous Lips for all beauty products, lip gloss and lashes and clothes.
There you go. Thank you ever so much for being on here.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
We'll return after these messages.
Hey, feeling down? Feeling low? Not enough podcasts about movies in your life? Why not try
They must be destroyed on sight.
the new Podcast Cure-All? Sure to get you right with the world and on a path to better living. We have exploitation, we have Italian horror, we have zombies, we have slashers, we have crime films, we have spaghetti westerns, we even have sci-fi and sex comedies. So take a dose of
They must be destroyed on sight.
as needed, and let the hosts, Lee Russell, Daniel Harper, Paul Romali, and the odd guest host cure what ails you.
Warning, may cause atrophy, African consumption, black fever, bone shave, chin cough, colic, cramp colic, dropsy of the brain, elephantitis, grocer's itch, jaundice, mania, miasma, mortification, palsy, Pott's disease, rheumatism, scurvy, St. Anthony's fire, summer complaint, and worm fit in some people. Consult a physician before listening.
Hey, I heard you like movies.
I heard you like to hustle.
I heard you like podcasts.
Well, guess what?
There's a podcast for you out there called The Home Video Hustle.
Damn right.
Every Friday, we talk about whatever movie PJ picks out the bag. What does that mean? Every Wednesday on our YouTube page, I put a bunch of movies in a bag, and PJ picks one out at random. And then we just watch it. We talk about it for maybe like an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever we feel like doing, wherever the conversation leads us.
But do we actually talk about the movie?
Most of the time.
Ah.
Tangents galore.
Yes.
So believe me, we may be a movie podcast, but it's not always about movies. We might talk about video games,
Music.
Yeah, that's the big one, music. Sometimes we might get a little bit of politicalness in there.
Yes.
Sometimes we may just, we know what we like to do. We like to tell stories, PJ.
Ah, yes.
I am the master storyteller
Yes.
of the podcast realm. Undefeated. So if you like to hear about movies, video games, whatever foolishness comes to our mind, the most random stuff you could think of, check out the Home Video Hustle. You can find us on the Stitchers,
Yes.
the Google Play,
Yes.
Apple Podcasts,
What else?
Podbean,
What else?
Podcast Addict,
Goddamn.
all that. Ain't no reason you can't get your hustle on. We everywhere, worldwide, baby.
Hustle, motherfucking hustle.
Hey, we can't cuss in the promo, PJ.
Ah.
We gotta be family friendly. There may be podcasts out there that don't want his hair say
Ah.
all
Yeah.
that good fun stuff.
Well. Fuck you.
Don't run the listeners away, Pete.
Ah, I'm sorry.
But this is going kind of long.
Yes.
So we'll end this and say, hey, check out the Home Video Hustle every Friday on all the various podcast outlets. Peace.
Peace.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster. And while Witch didn't make it to the top of the world, he did make the Gangs of Hollywood podcast. So join the gang and enjoy a movie review podcast about movie gangs, gangsters, mobsters, and the mayhem they cause. You can find GOH Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at GOH Pod at www.gohpod.com, as well as your favorite podcast listening app. And remember, say hello to your little friend for me.
If you take two old punk rockers who are past their prime, put them in front of a movie screen, and give them a podcast, what do you get? Cinema Punks. Cinepunks. It's the mixtape of movies.
Did you ever see a film at such a young age it left you traumatized with cinematic wounds? Necrophilia. It's a dead issue, man. Don't push it. Cinema Psyops is a weekly podcast documenting an ongoing experiment on the mind of an unwilling test subject.
No one should have to watch this movie.
Oh, no one should have to watch this?
No one should have to watch this movie.
Surprisingly, it's not a topic that a lot of people really want to tackle.
I'm shocked, Prudes.
I know, really.
Right?
It's the next sexual frontier that no one wants to explore.
I am, in the most sincerest of senses, disappointed in you.
It takes a powerful goddess like Connie, jam her arm down the monster's throat and kill it. Oh, I'm still tripping out over that. Even as a kid, I was like, I gotta find a girl like that. Every week, I get a new look of disappointment that I never thought I could get out of her.
Unimaginable. At 12 years old, you should not be watching this movie.
Obviously.
At 13, you should not be. 14, you shouldn't be. I'm not entirely sure even 17-year-olds should be watching this.
Just because you're offended by something doesn't mean that you have the right to demand that it doesn't exist. Watching this film again, I had all of this like little nerd glee with everything that kept
little
popping
history all popping up
absolutely.
at you.
So I totally loved this film.
Hey, I know why you couldn't see that. It's because your brain's warped from watching this shit at 12 years old.
Yeah, this is a rough movie. I told you ahead of time when we were getting ready to do it that it was
How
going to be
did
a
you
rough
watch
one.
this shit at 12?
Because physical wounds heal, cinematic ones don't. Listen to Cinema Psyops.
Hey everybody, I'm Corey. And I'm Zach, and we're the hosts of Podcasting After Dark, a cast dedicated to late-night horror and sci-fi of the 80s and 90s, often found on HBO and Cinemax.
You know, the movies your parents didn't want you watching as a kid. You can find us every other week on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and Stitcher.
This is what you want.
This is what you get.
It's time, let's check our queue, baby. Pair it with a couple brews, baby. We love good movies. We love the bad ones too. So we watch them all and pass their lessons on to you. Oh yeah. Everything I learned from movies helps to make life a little bit groovy. Whether one last plot holes or gratuitous movies, it's time to get busy with your friend Steve and Izzy at eilfm.podbean.com.
Welcome to Who Was She podcast. I am your host, Tara Jabari. After a decade working in documentaries, marketing, and all things digital media, I found that podcasting is a strong medium to share stories. After years of producing for others, I decided to start my own biographical podcast. Who Was She will focus on the life of a woman throughout Baha'i history. The first season is about Lydia Zemenov. Lydia's story explores the subjects of the power of language and faith. Her father invented the universal language Esperanto, and she came from a Jewish family and became a Baha'i. She grew up during World War I and was killed during World War II in a concentration camp, despite heroic efforts to save her life. How can one person's life intersect with so many others, connect across borders, and inspire a biography, which inspired this podcast? Over the next few weeks, I will share her story with you and the lives that were most affected by her and those who affected her life as well. They include her father, Ludwig Zemenov, her spiritual mother, American journalist Martha Root, and the Baha'i German soldier Fritz Mako, who worked for the resistance undercover while having to serve the Nazi Party. I want to thank the author Wendy Heller and George Ronald Publishing for their blessing to let me use Heller's biography, Lydia, The Life of Lydia Zemenov, Daughter of Esperanto, as a main and instrumental resource for this podcast. So please subscribe and learn about this amazing woman who traveled through 3 continents in an effort to bring unity through the power of language. You can also find more information on our Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest at Who Was She Podcast. Music was composed and performed by Sam Red. I am your host, Tara Jabari. Join us next time as we begin our journey about Lydia Zemenov.
Hi, everybody. It's Mac Jackson. I wanted to invite you to a new site called the Forever Adventure Network. This website has everything: pictures, videos, blogs. There's original music by Harmony Constant, 2 podcasts. One is the Macgyver Podcast, where we celebrate Richard Dean Anderson, his iconic roles, and how it's influenced our lives. There's episode discussions, interviews, and life conversations. The second podcast is the Never Gets Old Podcast, where we celebrate all the best things that we love in life, from TV, movies, music, and comics. The site is also the home for the Macgyver SG-1 audio series, an ongoing adventure series that continues the adventures of Macgyver and SG-1. There are also multiple stores to choose from for all of your pop culture and adventure needs. Come on by and check us out today. And thanks for joining the adventure.
Are you sick of the same old stale podcasts? Well, then join Vanessa and Darren as they dissect movies of all kinds. The 2 lifelong cinema lovers bring their favorites, curiosities, and first-time watches to the operating table and inject them with a healthy dose of snark. Then there's the waiting room, where they examine books and short stories. So just look for them on Apple Podcasts and where fine podcasts are available. They're part of the Legion Podcast Network. Follow them on Twitter at VDClinicPod. Join them on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/VDClinicPod. Or email them at vdclinicpod@gmail.com. They're ready to cure what ails you. And still, they just might be a little contagious.
Hi there. It's Heather from the Watching Netflix Without You podcast. Did you know that there are over 1,200 Netflix original feature films and documentaries? And that number is only growing. So I've made it my mission to watch as many as I possibly can. Then, with a delightful guest or guests, Disclaimer, more often than not my brother Ryan. We spend an episode rating, reviewing, and discussing a film at length. The first half of every episode is spoiler-free for those who haven't seen it yet. And in the second half, after a very clear spoiler warning, we dive into it. And that's really about it. You can listen to Watching Netflix Without You on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more.
We now continue with our program.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening.
It's a jacked up review show.